So, good morning everyone. We begin with chanting universal well-being. May I abiding well-being in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abiding well-being in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings release from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. The future is born from such action, companion to such action, and the results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts there will be the end. So we'll continue the reading bowing journals and letters from the pilgrimage done by Reverend Shur and Marty Verhoeven, Dharma Heng Chao. And today's entry is from Reverend Shur. It's April 8, 1978. And is the letter to Reverend Shur's teacher, Venerable Master Xianhua. Dear Shifu, we won't be able to be with you on your birthday this year, but we'll bow to you 9 times here on the road and wish you many happy returns with all our hearts. Here are some of the recent mind changes on 3 steps, 1 bow. Heng Chao, Upasaka Guo Chou rounds, and I bow around a steep rise and wham. And wham, there before us stood the next 3 weeks of our lives, etched in green stone and blue water, 20 miles of awesome rocks in the slanting afternoon sun. The first sight of the sheer cliffs falling straight to the azure ocean took my breath away. We could see tiny flecks of sun glare on glass. Cars and campers rolling on a tiny thread of highway stuck on the mountainside halfway between oblivion and nowhere. We were going to bow on this road. My first impulse was to follow on the old habit energy and let my mind dive into a daydream to avoid facing the reality. But I couldn't do that. A new young energy that's been slowly building took control and brought my heart back to focus on the work. What came to my mind was this passage from the sutra lecture that night before, and it's from 10th Transference chapter, quote, "Although he causes all existence to be purified, he does not make distinctions amid all that exists, and he is caused to be happy with purified mind. In one Buddha land, he relies on nothing. In all Buddha lands, it is the same. Nor is he attached to conditions dharmas because he knows that the nature of these dharmas there is nowhere to rely. I applied this sutra passage to this situation only hours before. I have been bowing on the Huntington Drive outside Golden Wheel Temple in LA. Where were there any dharmas to rely on there? Where was LA now? When I was in LA, where were the mountains, this ocean? How was this moment any different from that moment? I couldn't find any differences. So what was there to hide from? Why take a vacation in Falstads? It's nothing but the sad little ego looking for a way out of the pressure of slow, steady work on the mind ground. What would Shifu say? Everything is okay, no problem. Use effort, fear is useless. So I took another look at the landscape before us. Hey, what a beautiful, pure place to cultivate in. What a fine embodiment. My heart seems to take wings and soar out into the clear air above the mud of my afflictions. When the boulders have turned to dust, I vow to be still, to still be on the bodhisattva path, working to end the sufferings of all living beings. Okay, so I stop here. It's reflecting on this passage, an ongoing theme. So where we going for our refuge? Where we feel safe or feel at home? And often it's, like Reverend Shu mentioned, it's just a habit to bring us to kind of dream thinking or willing to hide, to take a vacation, to avoid. And we have so many methods to do it. And sometimes it's just wanting to stay with something what is familiar for us. Even it's not very pleasant. Like we can be lost in worries, for instance, because we feel like almost like at home. If I not worry, it's kind of weird in the mind. Or right now we can go to YouTube, right? Or Netflix. So many choices. And as I reflecting what was my kind of main escape mechanism, and my answer is my kind of quote-unquote drug choice was music. I think since maybe 6 years old, I remember when I discovered the record of the Beatles, or my father maybe gave me. It was a small record with a few songs, and I found that yes, I want to go to this place. To when the music can bring myself. It's like a poetry of feelings that I can kind of extend these emotions, kind of feel the factor of the experience, and it's almost like create the soundtrack to my thoughts, create a new reality, very alive, very pleasant, even is maybe nostalgic or melancholic, and I just want to be there, just want to hide there. especially when I become like maybe 14, 15 years old. I remember my mom moved to US and she sent me Sony Walkman on the cassettes. Oh, now my all background thinking have a soundtrack. I go everywhere with this, uh, you know, earplugs, and it was my drug. I definitely don't want to deal with all these not necessary things around me. Just listen. At the time, it was a grunge area, right? Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and other bands. All this new waves of rock in 90s. And I remember the moment when I discovered Dharma. I arrest all my cassettes at the time, close down, no more music. Rabbi Hengshur 2007 came with the delegation of monks, and I asked him about should I listen music or not? Of course you can listen music. Music is not the problem. It's more how you use it and what is the intention behind. And when it came to California, of course, this music, I don't have to have CDs, cassettes. I have so many songs in my playlist in my heart, so I can easy to listen them when I do different things. Still in the background is some melody. Remember being in TM. We have a toilet on the one side when closer to the wing, when I think some close to some houses outside the city. And I came to this toilet and someone play the Dark Side of the Moon very loudly album. Us and Them, I remember even the song. And I kind of listen. It's like all these memories come out, all these emotions. It was so intense that maybe from 2 or 3 days I couldn't kind of recenter myself, lost in dreams. As I was like 17 years old, my home, food, everything was there. The whole movie became again very alive. So just kind of reflecting, what is our place when we want to hide? Also, in the Dharma, what we're saying is don't have to go for any content. We don't have to run away from our experience. We can return to place of awareness. We can be observer. We can settle in our mind whatever arises. We can focus moment by moment and experience what is behind us or before our eyes. It takes a trust to stay there, to not want to run away. And I think this is the one of the our cultivation is about, is to find this solid place when we can meet whatever arises in our minds, not be afraid, not fight, whatever it is, just settle in and have a kind of solid ground. We can move on. Okay, I see it's time's on, so maybe for today everyone can reflect what is your relationship with your awareness, or what is our way to deal with reality, quote unquote. Can we find a kind of safety, just connect to our maybe bodies, relax, and be present, and see how this day will look like. Okay? We have 3 steps, 1 bow.